What's up, everybody? Well, I got a little bit different video for you guys today. Now today, we are going to fix my Steam Deck's noisy fan. Now, it started off okay for the first like 10 minutes of ownership, but then I set it down to go to the bathroom while it installed a bunch of games, and when I got back, I heard this weird buzzing sound, and I was like, what the fuck is that? And then I like went to my Steam Deck. I was like, oh, the Steam Deck's making that noise. Is that the fan? Put my ear up to the fan. Yep, that's the fan, all right. And it seems to get worse when it's down on the table like that. When you're actually holding it, like sitting in bed playing it with it's basically sitting straight up, it's not so bad. But the second you try to, well, hello, we have a Misty. Anyway, the second you try to like put it flat or like sit in bed with it above your head where it's flat, opposite way it would be on a table, it starts making a bunch of weird buzzing sounds. Now, I guess that's the fan. I guess that's the, like, whatever. There's just two fans that came with it, and I guess I got the dud. But anyway, why don't we get this thing on out of here, and I'll show you what I meant, or what I mean. So there we go. We'll just get that out of the way. And there's our Steam Deck. So let's just turn our Steam Deck on, and while we're waiting, obviously I'm not going to force you guys to watch that. All right, before we get started, I figured we would just look at Elden Ring settings real quick. These are settings we're going to run just to kind of test the game out, just in case anybody was interested. And normally I would limit it to 30 FPS, but we're going to let it go as fast as it wants to go, just to heat up so we can show you guys what the fan sounds like. So now let's go hop on into the game, and then we'll go see how it is. All right, now I'm just gonna sit here for a second while we wait for it to ramp up, and then we'll come back. Well, all right, I have sat here and waited for the fan to get up to about 5,200 RPM. That's where mine starts making the pretty obsessive rattling noise. So I don't know if you guys will even be able to hear it, but I'll try to like boost the thing and when I'm doing the editing part, so you guys will hopefully be able to hear it. But I'm gonna set the microphone that's usually on my neck down there real quick and see if you guys can hear what I'm talking about. Well, all right. Hopefully you guys were able to hear that. So now, why don't we shut the Steam Deck off, give it a chance to cool back down while we're opening up the iFixit kit. Well, now, let's go take a look at what we get in our iFixit Steam Fan Replacement Kit. I did the more expensive one because I just figured it'd be nice to have a screwdriver and some more tweezers. I've already got some of that stuff in my normal, whatchamacallit, little like iFixit knockoff kit, but figured why not get the more expensive one, because the one thing I didn't get with my kit is these guys. So they're basically almost like guitar picks, and this will probably help us get the thing open. But if they don't, I'll just use my, other kind of picks. I've got these other ones that are probably about that long, and they've got like aggressive little teeth on them. That's the ones I used for my laptop that's sitting just off camera up here. Had to move the cooling pad because that dang thing's enormous as hell, and I needed room for this video, so anyway. And then you get this. This is the new fan, replacement fan. Let's see here, focus. Here we go. So that's what kind of fan it is. All right, we can just set that down. Anything else in the box? Nope, nothing else in the box. Box can get tossed to the side here. And now we have to go get the Steam Deck and start opening it up. So why don't we go grab that thing? I'm sure it's cool by now, or at least cool enough to do this. It's not like we're touching anything that gets that hot anyway. Well, all right, we've got this thing all cooled off and we're ready to start taking it apart almost. Figured I'd just go through a couple prerequisites that they recommend, that Steam recommends and whatnot. Or I should say Valve, they're not Steam, they're Valve. What am I talking about? So, first off, if you want to minimize the risk of damage, you can turn your Steam Deck, or you have to allow it to get below 25% battery, which I've done. I think it's at like 22 or 23% or something like that. So I've done that. They just say a charged lithium-ion battery can be dangerous if you accidentally puncture it, but as long as you're not like doing really dumb things, you're not going to be able to puncture that thing. But anyway, Obviously don't have it plugged into the wall or have any cables plugged into it, like pretty much just the power cable. So other than that, they also recommend putting it into battery storage mode, but I'm not gonna bother doing that. We're just putting a fan in. Maybe if I was doing something else like taking the heat sink off and going farther in there, maybe I would do that, but I'm not gonna do that. And then finally, before we get started here, make absolutely sure you take your micro SD card off or out before you do this, otherwise it will snap. So now why don't we go ahead and start taking off the screws and whatnot. All right, now before we start and do anything else, obviously we don't have headphones plugged in, obviously we don't have power plugged in or anything, but we've got an SD card in here. So what you're going to want to do is, there we go, take your little SD card out, put it somewhere safe. If you have an animal or something like Misty, she might try to play with that or eat it or something, so you don't want that. And you don't want it getting snapped in half. So all right, now carefully set it back down. Also, if you don't have a nice soft surface like I do to work on, I would recommend putting down a towel or something. And then if you've got one of these lying around, and not everybody has one, I would recommend getting one of these. It's magnetic, so you can put all your screws in there and you won't lose them. But all right, so now we can get started taking this thing apart. All right, so to start with here, we've got 4 9.5mm screws right here. It's kind of like my laptop. Different screws for different places, so you want to make sure you put these guys back in the right spots. And then around here, you can even tell just by looking at them, they're smaller. You've got 4 5.8mm screws right here that you take off. And then that's it for the screws. So why don't we get to unscrewing some screws? Well, all right, here we go. Let's start taking these screws out. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I don't like how it skips around in there, even when I'm putting a decent amount of pressure. I don't want to strip the screw. Is that the wrong size fucking screw? Well, that's not cool. All right, well, change your plans. I was going to use that, but I'm not going to strip my damn screws, so hold on a second. I'm going to grab my screwdriver, and we'll get to the bottom of this. All right, I went to go grab my screwdriver, because I'm not about to start stripping screws in this bitch. The second it started jumping, I was like, nope, we're not stripping shit, and I was putting a lot of pressure on it, so that wasn't the problem. So what you're going to want to use if you have your own screwdriver, because I wouldn't recommend getting this dang kit now if it's not going to work, but if it's the best you have, you're just going to have to figure something out. But it's a pH 0 is the one that you need. Now watch. Look how easy it comes out. I wonder, do these come all the way out, or are they kind of like held in? Nope, they come all the way out. And there you go, there's the first one. These are the longer guys. So I'm just going to toss him up into that thing real quick. Look at how easy that goes now. Let's get that more back into the shot, huh? Now, obviously, you don't want to push down too hard on, like, your throw space. That's why I'm lifting up as I do this. That way I can still have some pressure to get the screw so it doesn't jump around, but that way we're not just, like, fucking up our thumbsticks or anything. Because this thing has nice ones. I'd like to keep it that way. And then we'll get the last guy. It's easier to just flip it upside down like that. Hold it off the table a little. Whoop, come on. A little more. Here we go. Now that's all of the longer screws out of there now, so now we can work on getting these 4 guys out. Now for these guys. Just take them out. Now they're a lot smaller. It's pretty easy to remember where they go, but just remember where they go. That's the best advice I can give you. If you mess it up, you're going to have a very bad time, because look at how much smaller these are than the other ones were, just as a comparison. So you don't want to mess that up. But now let's finish up here. Try to get this in the shot, but unfortunately where I need to go, I keep putting my damn fingers in the fucking way of the camera. Here we go. There's another one. Now we can get these 2. These 2 are a lot easier to show. Yep, and just remember, enough pressure so it doesn't skip, but not so much you're going to fuck shit up. I know I probably feel like an absolute idiot talking about how to unscrew screws, but I just don't want anybody to follow my video and then get all fucked up and then blame me and think, well, I followed your guide and I fucked up my shit and it's your fault. And it's like, no, I'm showing you guys how to do it. If anything happens, weird shit happens, nothing I'm doing in this should brick your Steam Deck or fry it or anything, but stranger things have happened, so just want to throw that out there that you never know what might happen. But alright, we've got all the screws out, so now let's move on to the next part. Alright, next step, you're going to want to take one of these, and I'm going to laugh if these end up being useless too, and I'm going to end up using my other tools from my other kit, but basically, you're just going to want to take it, shove it into the groove, and make it give up the clips. And yeah, like I thought, it's proving to be quite difficult with those, so man, that's on there good. Well, I definitely don't want to break it or super embarrass myself, so I think I'm going to go grab my other tools and see if those fare better, because that's not helping. Well, alright, I'm starting to think that most people that would buy this kit would already have their own screwdrivers and stuff, so I'm starting to say, screw this kit. Everything I already had works better so far, but I went and grabbed my actual little things I use for opening up my laptop. Now let's see what we can do here. Can we open it up with this? The last thing I want to do is like fuck my Steam Deck up and scratch it all to hell, you know? Man, that is just not working. That thing is really put together solidly. Well, bravo, bravo, Valve. You did a really good job keeping that bitch fucking, whatchamacallit, sealed. I made sure I got all the screws. There's only 4 here and 4 here, so I don't know what the heck else to do. So I guess I'm just going to try this off camera where I actually can look at it without like bashing it into the camera and whatnot, and then once I get it started, just like with the laptop, I'll come back and show you guys how to get it unclipped and whatnot. Well, alright, the solution to this was really silly. Once I got off the camera and stopped worrying about embarrassing myself on camera, I was just like, it just clicked pretty much instantaneously. So all you want to do is jam it close to these. Be careful not to hurt your pads, but just jam it in like that, right in the corner here, and just go and literally just go along down the side like that, and yep, see? The more you do it, the more it'll let go. So, now that we've done all that, I'm pretty sure we can just grip it over here, and we can just gently pull up. And boom, all the tabs came off, none of them broke or anything, and there's some of what the Steam Deck looks like inside. So there we go. Let's get you more in shot there. There we are. Now we are in the Steam Deck. So let me go put this guy off to the side where he won't get damaged. And now we can work on getting this guy out. Well, alright, now that we're in the Steam Deck, there's obviously a safer way to do this. If you want to go exactly by the book, you'd take your tweezers, grab this little opening. They even gave it a little, I can see it. They made a little opening where you could easily I'll just give an example, where you could easily just grab that just like that and rip it up and get to your thing. But if you don't want to do all of that, and you just want to get this fan out real quick, well, all you have to really do is take these 2 screws out right here, but first, take your tweezers and make sure you're grabbing the actual connector itself and not these wires. If you grab these wires and pull up, I mean, the fan's broken basically anyway, and it doesn't matter, but if you want to do this right, you grab it by the connector and pull up gently. Oh, seems like it's a little tougher than it looks. Again, it's one of those things on camera where... Alright, well, screw that. I'll just keep that off camera too, because apparently these tweezers are trash. I think I'm gonna go grab my tweezers for this. So far, this is hilarious. So far, every fucking bit of this kit I've bought has been like not good. I'm kind of glad that I just bought this like super cheap thing. I know this isn't like the super expensive iFixit screwdriver, but so far that thing was trying to strip screws, and so far at least this worked. I did actually get it open with that. I didn't have to use these guys after all once I actually started looking at it logically. So I'll give them that. This part is kind of cool. So if you want to buy the extra kit just to get some of these guys to open it a little easier, if you don't have these, I'd recommend it. But so far, these two things seem fucking useless. So I'm going to go grab my tweezers, and we'll be right back. All right. Now we got to use mine, and you just pull it out. Just pull it out like that. You don't want to pull the socket out, and you don't want to pull it by the wires. So there we go. The fan is now disconnected, and now, thanks to these awesome little tweezers, we were effortlessly able to get it out. Glad I have this nice kit. So now, why don't we just go ahead and undo these other two screws right here. And again, don't screw these up and mix them up with anything, so I'd put those off to the side. I've sorted pretty much all of mine in my little magnetic little basin. So there we go. Now, these two, you're like, wait, you only took out two. Well, these two guys are part of the back of the, whatchamacallit, Steam Deck. So they're already done. So now what we can do is we can use, we'll try to use their stuff to maybe do this and carefully peel this little sticker up so we can get it out. There we go. We just have to peel this up a little bit and be careful. There we go. Now, let's put those down. And now it looks as though the thing will just slide out, kinda. Yep, there we go. We got it. It was still stuck to the tape a little bit, but see, boom. Now we just slide the old fan out just like that. Huh, I wonder if it's the exact same fan. Yes. According to that, it is. Interesting. Well, maybe I just got a dud then. Anyway, though, now, for the new fan, we can just do the exact opposite of what we just did to get that fan in. Just kind of put it in at an angle. Don't force anything. There we go. Boom. It slid right back into place. Make sure these holes line up flawlessly. And then if you want, once they do, you can just kind of lightly put this back on. And that did move around, so let's just make sure our holes are still completely lined up, and they are. So, now we're done with those guys. Now it comes time for the tricky part. We gotta plug that fan in. So, we're gonna try to just grab it with these tweezers here. All right, because it's going to go like that. So, interesting. It doesn't really seem like it wants to be bent. So let's try to bend that a little so we can plug it in, huh? Man, that's very interesting. It honestly doesn't seem like the fan thing is long enough to reach. So, alright, again, off camera, since it's probably something stupid where I'm just getting all antsy and worried that I'm doing something wrong. It's probably just something as easy as putting it down through there and then just kind of, let's see, if we hold it like that and get that under like that, maybe then we can plug it in. Yeah, this is definitely just going to take some finagling. So I'm just going to finagle that. It'll just take some finagling and get your fan thing plugged back in. So let me just do that real quick. Well, yep, just got to laugh at myself. Just like before, it was effortless. As soon as I got off camera, I just basically finagled it under there with my finger and then grabbed hold of it and got it in there with the tweezers, no problem. It's just kind of hard to see at this angle while you're trying to show people what to do. So now, put your screws back in. It feels so weird you're not going a cross pattern though. Oops, 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 oops. Let's not lose you in the Steam Deck, guy. You're so small. I'm so not even good with little tiny things. And if you want to try to line it up, there you go. Always just go backwards a little bit and it gets the thread started. That's an old trick my grandpa taught me. And then just make sure they're snug. Don't over tighten them, but just make sure they're snug. Oops, I hit the camera a little there. And there we go. Now that's back in. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of don't like that. So I think I'm going to cut a little of that off because I could just see that like flopping into the fan and making new noise or something. It's probably just there so you can pull the, maybe it's even there so you can just pull the fan out, you know? But I'm not gonna do that because they tell you literally not to fricking pull by the wire, so why would that be? It's probably just for getting the wire and pulling the wire out from this little crevice. That's all I meant. Just wanted to clarify here. But, all right, why don't we go ahead and move on? Well, there we go. I cut it a little bit, so now it's far enough away, but I can still grab hold of it and use it for its intended purpose. So, now we can work on doing the reverse of what we did to put it back together. All you really have to do is grab your Steam Deck casing, line everything up. Well, actually, wait. Here's another little thing I would test just to make sure. Let's just look. All right. Both of our fan holes are lined up flawlessly. You don't want to be putting your whole casing back on, try to put these two screws back in, then you go, well, what the fuck? Why isn't it working? What the fuck? And look at how easy that is. Just like with my laptop, it sounds fucking awful and terrifying. But just go around and just make sure all the corners are good. All right. Looks like we're back. That one looks a little funny, but I think that's normal. But anyway, so now that's back on there. Now we can start putting these screws back in. So let's move on to putting screws back in. Well, now here we go. We're going to use my screwdriver because the other one that came with this cheaper kit is just not very good. And I think I want to put these 4 little ones in the center back in first, just because I'm kind of antsy to make sure I line these guys up. It looked lined up, but you put the casing back on and maybe it fucked something up. Who knows? All right, it went back in, so that's good. Now we'll come down to this guy. There we go. Unfortunately, those guys are pretty much right in the fucking way of the camera, so I apologize. All you're really seeing for some of this is my big fat hand, so sorry about that. All right, turn it backwards a little bit and then get going. It's so nice to have a magnetic screwdriver. All right. Now we just go around and just snug them up And there we go. Now all of those are nice and snug. Now let's work on the bigger screws, huh? Here we go. Kind of sucks I couldn't show you guys how it works with the kit. My whole idea was, oh, I'll just show them how to do it with the kit, because I bet most people don't have, you know, whatchamacallit. But then I started thinking, anybody, oops, come on now. Let's get you in your home. Sometimes it's easier to just let it drop into the hole first instead of balancing it on your screwdriver too. Here we go. 2 more. And yes, I still try to balance it on my screwdriver. Yeah, this is another one of those examples of do as I say, not as I do. All right, get in there. Here we go. And since it's a magnetic screwdriver, sometimes it can be annoying, so I like to use my fingernail just to hold it so it doesn't get sucked back up out of the fucking hole. Here we are. And now let's just plop our last guy back into place there. Here we are. And all right, there we go. And now you've just put all the screws back in and the Steam Deck's already back together. Look how easy it is. Honestly, that's easier than doing my laptop. Less screws. But anyway, now let's turn the thing back on and make sure the fan works and make sure I didn't brick the damn thing. Because then this whole video will be a, hey, don't try to, you know, go do the easy way because this will happen. But other than that, I'm hoping it'll turn into do the easy way because it's a lot easier than risking breaking your battery and taking all this other shit apart when you don't really need to. So why don't we go flip this bitch over and find out. All right, first boot with the new fan. Well, at least it made a doodle-doot, so at least I didn't break it so bad that it doesn't turn on. It's just did I actually get that fan in the connector? I didn't want to force it, but it seemed like it went down into its slot. Sounds like it's working. Yeah, it's working. Sweet. Verifying the installation. Oh. All right, sweet. Apparently I have a new item in my inventory. But all right, it turns back on. And I feel the fan actually making air, so I don't really like getting my battery below 20%, so I'm going to go let this thing charge for just a teeny little bit, maybe like 10 minutes, just to get it back up to like 30-35%. And then we'll hop in Elden Ring and see if this fan makes a bunch of ridiculous noise too. Maybe I got 2 duds. That'd be kind of annoying if I did all of this for nothing. But hopefully that doesn't happen. Only one way to find out though, but only after charging. Well, alright guys, I've let it sit here and get back up to about the same 5,300 RPM that it started rattling at before and getting really bad, and so far so good. Let's go take a quick listen. All right, I think that's more than good enough. As you can tell, no rattles, no weird shit. It's just fan sounding like a fan. So I would say mission successful, guys. So let's go wrap this video on up now. Well, all right, that is an absolute win. We have successfully repaired our Steam Deck. So let's go take ourselves a quick victory hit of some nice orangutan. Very good. Skunky and kind of fruity. My 2 favorites in one. Badass. But anyway, our Steam Deck is all repaired. Now, unfortunately, most of the stuff from the iFixit stuff was just kind of bad and didn't help me. I had to break out my stuff. So luckily I had that. Maybe I just got a bad batch though. That, and I will say, these might have worked if I would have taken the Steam Deck out of the camera where I can get a better look at what I'm doing and actually get the freaking thing get the little connector on the sides and whatnot. I will say this though, this guy was helpful. Now I'm not gonna say my other things couldn't have done the same thing, but this small little pick thing was really easy to get into the side to get the thing open. So that's pretty cool. So here we go. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it helped you guys replace the Steam Deck fan the easy way. So if you guys have any questions, obviously just leave them in the comments. I try to answer every comment I can. And that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Definitely enjoyed making it. And until the next video, peace out, guys.